What do we think about that, right? What do we think about when people say that fighters are boring, or they didn't deserve the win, or they fought boring to get the win? Is there merit in that?
Yeah, absolutely. If same thing in jiu-jitsu, dude. You've got guys who would fight for points, and you've got guys who would fight for the submission. There's nothing more convincing than winning a fight by submission. There's nothing more convincing than winning a fight by knockouts or, again, submission. Um, I mean, well, if you have two people at the same sort of skill level, it makes sense that you're going to have a fight that's going to come down to a decision. But there was no. Gunn was absolutely obviously much better than Rosenstrike on the night. He was quicker, he was in and out, that jab was insane. But come on, dude, what a boring match. I had to have 2 cups of coffee.
No,
But here's the point. Here's my point is, can he be faulted for the way that he achieved the victory? There's been many instances in the past in the UFC and other promotions and fights in general of people doing just enough to get the W. So if you fight what others consider, or what the spectators might consider, a boring fight, but you stick to a game plan and you get the W, at the end of the day, from a fighter's perspective, that's all that matters, right? If you're, your win bonus, that's if is being flashy and potentially getting caught and doing something wrong. Is that going to get you your win bonus? Is that going to move you up in your rankings in your division? Where does the balance lie?
Dude, honestly, if fighting is a spectator sport, no one's going to, unless they've got a beef with someone else, or unless they're training to get better, you're fighting for the audience. And if you're only in there to last out the 5 rounds and hopefully win it on points, that's not a fight anyone's going to want to watch. I granted, there's strategy involved. They're not going to put themselves at risk. They're not going to move into striking distance and out of striking distance, or into striking distance unnecessarily, especially not with someone like Rosenstrike, who could take you out with one punch. So I think Ngannou was being a bit more cautious there. And we've seen it before with Ngannou and I think it was the Black Beast. That was also, again, one of the most boring fights to watch, because it's two very big people who just are too scared to get within striking range. Or I don't understand it though, because Gane is just so much better.
But would you say it's scared, or do you think they like
cautious?
That post you put up the other day, Jay, from Tyson, where it's fighting is a clever man's sport. So
thinking man's sport.
So do you think they just matched each other from a tactical and mind games perspective, where they just neither of them could get in and out, and that makes the fight boring?
Well, let's take a great example. Israel Adesanya versus Yoel Romero. Everyone thought it was going to be an absolute cracker. Everyone was looking forward to it. One of the most violent people that's ever existed versus, one of the top strikers. And it was a complete and utter flop, right? Everyone had a go at Adesanya and at Romero, for that matter, saying that they never engaged, they never kind of went at it. But in my mind, Israel did exactly what he needed to do to win the fight. He had a plan, he had a strategy he knew would work for him. He stuck to it. Yoel didn't want to engage, Yoel didn't want to wrestle, and Izzy got the W. In my mind, that's a clever fight. Yes, maybe he lost some points, some street cred or some points in some spectators' minds, but you could forgive him for something like that, because everyone knows that traditionally and consistently, he is a very exciting fighter.
Yeah. And same can be said for Gane and Rosenstrike. Rosenstrike has knocked people out from nowhere. Gane is, he's undefeated at the moment, and he's good at submissions and knockouts. So they're both extremely exciting fighters. But I think it is a case of getting two people together they understand each other's skill sets. They understand the danger when it comes to getting too close to each other. Maybe that's just one of those fights. Gane isn't that boring in his other fights. So we can't just say that he's a boring fighter. It wouldn't be fair to say that, but it was a boring fight. I would rather have been doing something else.
Yeah, as a fan of the sport, it's difficult being up at 4 a.m. and being like, this is a struggle to watch.